Hello, good evening, and welcome to Talking to Town. I'm your host, Ed McCullough. Our guest this evening is David Green. David is the Director of Development for OSPREY Village, Inc. OSPREY Village is a 501c3 nonprofit that is creating an inclusive residential community for developmentally disabled adults. David, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Ed.
It's nice to have you here. When did OSPREY Village form?
We were incorporated back in July of 2008. There was a number of families who are connected with Programs for Exceptional People, PEP, who had been thinking for a while about what happens if we're gone and there's no place for our son or daughter or sibling to stay. What do we do? And we looked at a number of different options, including what's the state doing as far as group homes and so forth. And although there were some promises of that happening, they actually planned on having 2 group homes open in Bluffton about a year or so ago.
They being the state.
Right, there's the Department of Disabilities and Special Needs in the county in conjunction with state funding. The funding started falling apart, so that got cut to 1 home, and then that one got eliminated altogether, so we're back to square one essentially with no place for them in southern Beaufort County. There are no group homes in southern Beaufort County at this point.
And I'll speak from my own personal prejudice, but when I envision, if you will, a home that is put together by a group of committed citizens who are participating in a nonprofit endeavor, as opposed to a home put together by the state, I get a much stronger, warm and fuzzy on the nonprofit side of the equation. Does that hold true for most of the parents of the people involved in OSPREY Village? Yeah,
I think so. We looked at things like Section 8 HUD housing to see would that be a possibility, and that came with a lot of strings attached. And the more we looked at this and looked at what other organizations were doing, we thought, well, we don't want something that's just acceptable. We want something that is excellent for our folks. And if we're going to have that, we're going to have to do it ourselves.
Something to be said for controlling one's own destiny.
Right.
Now, in terms of conceiving of that which really would be excellent, have you investigated models of excellence in other communities? And can you start to describe for us what are the key components of an excellent facility?
Right. In the past, we looked at what's been traditionally been done. And certainly, for many, many years and decades, you've had larger, more institutional type settings. You know, the campus type of environment where a large number of special needs adults would be living together. It may have been run by a religious order or some type of a nonprofit organization or a foundation of some sort. And the trend in the last couple of decades has been more to individualized group homes where it's 3 or 4 people living together in a home with staff helping them to care for their daily needs. What we're really trying to do is something in between that, where we don't want to have this institutional type setting where that's where those people live. And on the other hand, we don't want to have just individual group homes scattered here and there where no sense of community develops except amongst the few people that are there. We want an inclusive community, meaning they're part of the larger neighborhood. It's just some of your neighbors happen to be folks with mental disabilities. They're not dangerous or anything like that. They're just they may not know how to handle their finances, but they can take care of their activities of daily living, things like bathing and washing their clothes and feeding themselves, dressing themselves, cooking simple meals, those types of things. But they need help with some of the other things like finances, making appointments, and so forth. So our vision is to have this inclusive community that's part of the larger neighborhood, but yet provides a sense of community for those folks that are living there.
So just purely in terms of structure, would it be 3 or 4 houses contiguous on a block in a residential neighborhood, perhaps?
Could be. That's one possibility. The other possibility we're looking at would be to have more of an apartment-style setting where it might be even connected or nearby a retirement village or an independent living center or something like that. Because one of the things we've noticed is that our folks really hit it off well with older folks. They've all been through a heck of a lot,
The older folks and the
special needs adults, right?
Disabled adults.
Yeah, I mean they've seen a whole lot.
Common.
Yeah, and they've taken
relate.
Yeah, they can relate to one another. Yeah, I've been through a heck of a lot. I know I've had the operations, or I've had to deal with challenges that have been pretty tough with my family or whatever. And when they get together, they have a great time. And in particular, we're looking to have seniors working with our folks as volunteers, perhaps, or perhaps part-time employees once we get the facility up and running, where they can share the time and talent that they've got and their experience that they've had. Many folks come here, they retire after a month of golf, they're looking for something to do.
Yeah.
And
to have a sense of meaning beyond dropping a stroke or two off your game.
Exactly. And so those are the kind of folks we're looking to engage with our folks as well. And it may also be that there are some older folks that are living alone, would enjoy some companionship, maybe some help around their house, those type of things, something that our folks could provide, give them a sense of worth as well.
And when you talk about the concept of placing it right in the neighborhood and perhaps integrating with an assisted living or a facility of that nature, I have to believe there's tremendous research out there, plus I'm sure personal experience that says integration in the house next door, part of the neighborhood, as opposed to the old paradigm of being sequestered and put off somewhere far away and removed from the rest of society. It has a tremendously beneficial therapeutic developmental effect on those persons who are, integration is absolutely a key.
Yeah, absolutely. And what we're looking at is, to start, we'd like to have anywhere from 6 to 12 individuals with mental disabilities, cognitive disabilities. Could be autism spectrum disorder, Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, perhaps brain injury, those type of disabilities where, again, they're able to take care of themselves pretty much. It's just doing the planning and taking care of paying bills and making appointments and getting from place to place is something that they're going to need assistance with. And as we get them together, I know every time we've had a party or something, it's like they just have a great time. They enjoy each other so much. And in many cases, I know we've taken our son, who is mildly autistic, has had some behavioral issues, which he's improved quite a bit, but still he couldn't live on his own without some help. But take him out to visit with the old folks, and boy, they get on great. They just have a great time together.
And is that not a consistent part of the story, that when there is in fact integration,
Yes.
be it with an assisted living community or what have you, that it presents as something of a revelation to the persons with whom they're integrating as to how much fun they're having?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and in my son's case, he plays piano. We had a very patient Suzuki method piano teacher friend of ours who worked with them for quite a while, and he actually plays with us at our church. We do music together at St. Francis by the Sea, usually once or twice a month, and he adds a tremendous sound to what else we're doing with me on guitar and some other folks, and people love it. They love to see him up there playing, and he loves, of course, the opportunity to contribute, and really feels a great sense of self-worth because of that.
And we have to take a break, but feeling a sense of increased self-worth that comes from being a member of a community is essential to the program.
Right, absolutely.
We have to take a break.
Thanks.
We have been speaking with David Green. David is the Director of Development for OSPREY Village Incorporated. OSPREY Village is a 501c3 nonprofit that is creating an inclusive residential community for developmentally disabled adults in southern Beaufort County. I'm Ed McCullough. This is Talk of the Town. We'll be right back after these messages.